Welcome back to the Sporting Birds. We have a new episode, and boy, oh boy, I'm so happy today. I'm so happy because of what happened during the weekend. I can't wait to go over the topics today. We had great action, obviously, in the NFL. It's the hot season for it, and we know what happened. 4 games that went incredibly great.
Yes, it was a good weekend. I know what you're thinking of.
I'm
I
so
know
happy.
you're thinking about Pat Mahomes and everything that
God.
happened. And yes,
Predictions.
I totally get it. It was a great weekend, as you
It
said. It
was.
was amazing. The level of the games, everything that happened, so many things between the different teams during Saturday that happened also on Sunday. Of course, we're gonna go through that as well. But I mean, things that we were not expecting.
I was expecting every single piece of
Yeah,
what
I know, I
happened
know.
during the weekend.
I mean, let's
Oh
go.
my God.
I mean, let's think about. Let's think
Everybody else, let's think about
of
what
the
everybody
rest
else
about
was expecting.
yes,
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So,
exactly.
yeah, we're going to be covering all the action from the NFL today. It's a great episode, loaded with great stuff. And here with your hosts, as usual, Andre and Dylan. Remember that we're coming at you normally on Mondays and Fridays with a special schedule the past couple of episodes on Mondays because, I mean, we moved from Monday to Tuesday just because we wanted all the action to obviously develop during the weekend to cover it all in one single episode. And that's why we're coming at you on Tuesday this week. But normally we'll come
Yeah.
at you on Mondays, right? So yeah, it's gonna be a great episode. We're gonna cover each of the games and all the action as well, and important updates in the world of sports because this is the Sporting Birds, the house of all sports. You already know what it is. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Turn on the notifications so that you don't miss any of our beautiful content, all the action. This is a sports extravaganza. You already know
Yes.
it. And we're going to have a lot of fun. All right. So drop likes, comments, all of the good stuff. Follow us on socials. You already know.
Yes, definitely. Also leave comments. Let us know everything that you're thinking of regarding the content.
Well, not everything. All right.
Uh,
Be careful.
well, yeah,
Just
yeah.
don't drop all of your thoughts. All right. It's sport related comments, please.
Yes, please. But yes, go ahead, subscribe, as Dylan said. Click on the like button as well. So, yeah. But
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night for you. I
And-
can already see.
No,
You cannot
I-
even talk because you already know what's coming to you.
I know,
right?
I know. No, and it's fair. It's fair. I mean, I put my money on a specific team. It didn't pay off. I have to accept it. I have to
Listen to me next time. Yes.
think about think of the things that I'm analyzing and
Listen
and then go ahead and
Listen to the voice of
I'm
reason,
not gonna
brother.
do that.
Come on now.
Way too stubborn to
Well,
do
you're
it.
gonna keep on losing money then, because what we saw on Sunday, I mean Sunday and Saturday, both days were great.
Yeah.
All the 4 games had something, a beautiful story behind at the end of it. So we're gonna cover each and every one of them, and we're gonna start with the best one. So let's jump.
Yeah, we have to.
straight
We have
into the action. Let's go ahead and start with Kansas versus the Bills. This was supposed to be the best game, and I think, in my humble opinion, that it was.
It was.
It was the best game of the
It
weekend.
was close game. All the ingredients in the cold as well. Very cold, by the way. Very
It
cold
wasn't
weather.
as bad, obviously, as the previous week
No.
in Buffalo, but
but it
was
was
still
it was
pretty bad. Yeah.
Pretty bad, yes. Yeah, we had a good game. I think it started with good pace. We saw both teams scoring during the first quarter. Tie game, one team scoring, the other one
Yeah.
just
a lot of
after
late
that
changes.
scoring as well. So it was a very interesting game. Then we saw a couple of impasses there, right? Like defensively, both teams playing very well. right? Impasse in terms of scores, right? Of scoring points. Um, but overall, after that, the second quarter, it was madness. I would say. I think that's the word,
Yeah,
because a lot of things happened since the moment that the second quarter started until the moment of that
yeah.
missed field goal. That it was heartbroken. Again, I'm not a Bills fan, because I'm not. Just to clarify that, I'm not against the Chiefs. I'm also clarifying that.
You see,
I'm just, like going with what I see in the previous weeks, with what I see during the games, the from the regular season games. But yes, I'm gonna admit it that yes, you were right, and I said it
thank you.
in an episode. I
That was
remember.
easy, right? That was easy. It was easy.
I admitted, and yes, in a previous episode, I remember saying that Kansas City was the type of teams that, or the one team that nobody wanted to face. That's for sure. Because of course they're a great team. They have great assets, and they're very very well coached as well. Um, However, yeah, I was not I mean, everything or anything can happen in these type of games, but I was not expecting, or I was expecting for the Bills to step in. They were playing at home. They were playing uh, in a they were in a good straight as well. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what happened. Of course, the
Well, I can
missed
tell you
field
what
goal,
happened.
but it's still. I mean, I feel something was missing from the game.
I can tell you what happened because just obviously for the record, Kansas won the game 27-24. So clearly the score tells you a little bit of the story. It was a pretty close one. And I nailed that prediction as well, not in regards of the score particularly, but I told you
The
it's going to be a field
margin.
goal that is going to make the difference, right? That was going to be the difference between these two teams,
Mm-hmm.
and it was. And I mean, one for the ages. Obviously, this rivalry is starting to become something. Well, I think it was already. I guess we can say that it was already something that the league was in a very bad need for, because
Mm-hmm.
ever since obviously we saw Brady and Manning going at it. I mean, we kind of went through a little bit of a break in regards of rivalries. So this seems to be the one that is at least starting to give
Yeah,
us
to build up
something
and
of it, right?
yeah,
But it seems like it's leaning heavily in one direction,
and
which
that's
is
the problem.
yep, because
That's the
Kansas is
problem.
dominating. Again, this was the third time they were facing in the postseason, and
The third
there
win.
you go. Mahomes is 3-0 against Josh Allen,
Yes.
and that's just not beautiful for
He
his
he didn't
resume.
have a bad game. Still, I think Josh Allen had a pretty good game. Not in terms of yards, but he scored twice running the ball. He scored. He threw one touchdown as well. So it was not a bad day for him, but still he could
And I
have
think that's
done
I think
better.
that's the problem. In order
He could have done
in order
better.
for you, like whoever you are out there, Lamar Jackson, whoever it is that is gonna face Patrick Mahomes, you cannot bring a B game. You cannot.
Exactly.
It just
Has to
doesn't
be
work. It
A
has to be a
plus.
great game, right?
Yeah.
Like to beat Mahomes, you have to be great. And yes, Josh Allen took care of the ball because he didn't really had any turnovers. Like, I mean, he had a decent game with the yardage and the touchdowns. He obviously rushed for two of them. So overall, I think it was a good game for him. But again, you need a great one to beat this team, and it just didn't happen. So let's just go over the first question we actually want to try to answer here. Did the Bills lose the game, or did the Chiefs win the game?
I think it's a little bit of both, actually, because I mean, clearly the Bills lost the game by not scoring the field goal, but still you can say there was still like some time in the clock, like around minute and 40, something like that.
Yep.
So we all know what Patrick Mahomes can do in
Oh, yes,
13 seconds, right?
Oh, yeah, we know.
So we know what he can do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that that was the defining moment. Of course, that would give you the chance to go to OT, and but still you still had some time in there, and you know that Patrick Mahomes, he can score with 10 seconds in the clock.
Yeah, he's
We
that
all
special.
know that.
Yeah.
However, I don't feel the Kansas City game was that amazing that I can say like they won because like they did everything that they had to do. Of course, that they won, they took care of business, but I don't think it was an impressive game from Kansas City. Still, like I know what you're going to
Oh my
say,
God.
but can you like would you tell me that it was that amazing game?
Yeah, let me ask you one question then. Based on the season that you said it was so inconsistent
It
and
was.
kind of average, below average, or maybe even bad for some
Yeah.
of you out there from Kansas, how would you qualify this game in comparison to the season they're having then?
It was a good game. It was a good
In
game.
comparison to the season that you're telling me is pretty below average?
It was better. It was better. Yeah, I have to admit it. It was better than the average season they've had so far.
Because I just think this game
totally.
was...
But I mean, it was a good game.
I'm not going to tell you it was the best game we have
No, it
seen the
was not.
Chiefs
It was not.
play. Obviously
So
not, right?
that's why and I'm answering your question, right? Like, did they lose the game? Did the Bills lose the game, or Kansas City won it? For me, it was a bit of both. Because if we would have seen something like, I don't know, Kansas City scoring 36, 38 points, I would say like, okay, there is no doubt, right? But still the close margin, the field goal at the end, like I feel it was a little bit of both. That's
Yeah,
just
I think it
my
was
answer.
it was probably like an 80-20 from my perspective. 80% the Chiefs winning this game and 20% the Bills losing it. And the reason behind that is because when you think about it, obviously Kansas City's defense came in and it was
They
dominant.
crushed it.
They played the game that they needed to play, and that's why it's a little bit of an 80% for them. Because at the end of the day, you can have a very good defense or a great defense, like in the case of Dallas. We don't want to go back in time. We know what happened to that defense, but you can have what
Don't go
it
there.
was supposed to be a great defense, and if they don't show up, then that's it, right? Kudos to Kansas City defense because they showed up, they stopped, and they got the stops whenever they could, and when they needed the most to stop them, they did, right? So that was part of the reason why they won. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes played another great game. I mean, no turnovers, no sacks, which is obviously a knock on the passing rush for the Bills, but also, credits to the O-line for the Chiefs that was so questioned coming into this year. And yet they have managed to have him protected all the way through the postseason. I think he hasn't been sacked yet throughout the postseason. I think if I remember and if I heard that statistic correctly, I think he hasn't had.
But it's hard. It's very.
It's
very
hard because you have to go through the online and then you have to manage to catch the guy, right?
to
Because
catch
he's
him,
just
like,
so
all over the
smart.
place.
He is so crafty. He can pull whatever. And so, and we saw it a couple times during this game, not under crazy pressure, obviously, but when he needed to move a little bit, he did, and he pulled up great throws. I mean, I told you this. Kelce is due to a great game. He came in. He had the best game of the season so far for him. 2 touchdown passes for him, 75 yards, 5 receptions. So it's not like crazy in regards of the amount of yards he got. But again, he was available when they needed him. I just don't
He
understand
didn't
why
drop the ball.
he didn't drop the ball. I just don't understand why the Bills defense let this guy completely open on that touchdown, the 22-yarder. It was crazy. It was completely open, and it's is his main target. I don't understand how he was that open on that play, but he was. And again, that speaks to the execution of the Chiefs and how well they played the game. Again, when you need Mahomes to come in, it seems like when the pressure is the highest, when everybody is against you, the guy just comes in and just plays, and he delivers at a different
Yes.
level. It's just one of the best things we have ever seen, obviously, in regards of that, dealing with the pressure, dealing with the moment, and just, I mean,
Yeah,
delivering
he's
at
in
every
another
level.
level for sure, and he knows how to play these type of games. He just goes with it. He knows where to throw the ball,
Yeah.
like when exactly he's able to, move defenses around as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Have
It
everyone
was great.
trying to catch him. I mean, he knows how to play these games. He was built for this. He was born for this.
Yeah.
It was not even that he was built
It was
because
destined for this,
yeah,
100%.
he
Yeah,
was
because
destined for
it
this.
was great. And again, I think they did everything they needed to do correctly, and they did it.
Yeah,
And then in the other side, we have the Bills, which
they're
I mean,
still
for-
due.
yeah,
They're still
100%.
in debt.
Yeah, they are 100%, especially on this specific matchup, right? Again, 3-0 already in the postseason, so that's devastating for them. And some of the interesting, again, numbers that we saw during that game. So we saw Kansas throwing, I think it was 8, because I don't have it here, but if I remember correctly, it's 8 plays for over 20 yards, whereas the Bills didn't have any. So that speaks a little bit
Where was
about
where was Bill's defense as well?
yeah, 100%. That's number one. We all know that they were decimated. A lot of injuries on that defense, especially on the linebackers line, and we know that. I mean, if you have Kelce, you're gonna take advantage of that. And again, we saw it in a couple
But
plays.
the game plan, I guess it was all about the game plan as well.
Yeah,
You,
yeah,
you know you
for
have
sure.
your
But
injuries.
I mean, you're playing against Mahomes. How do you plan for that? Like, no matter what you throw at him,
The
it seems like
thing
he's
is, you
able to
don't-
handle
You
it.
don't plan for Mahomes. You plan for the weapons he has available.
Yeah, which also speaks about the greatness of in this case Kelce, right? Pacheco had a great game,
He had a
rushing
great game as
again.
well.
The guys that needed to come and just show up for the Chiefs in some way did,
They did it.
and it
They
seems that for the Bills, that's what
They
was
didn't.
not there. And I think they were just too heavily reliant on Josh Allen. And I told you this, right? Again, he didn't have a bad game, but if he doesn't have a great one, what are they going to do about it? And we saw it, right? He threw a couple of great balls deep down there in the field. And we saw a couple of drops, especially that Stephon Diggs drop for like, I don't know, it was like
Yeah.
60 yards or something. I just saw that ball fly and I was like, oh my God, what are we about to see here? And the guy just missed it. It hit his arm, brother. Like, it was so catchable, but it speaks a little bit about the struggles that these two
And
have
it's
had
again like
throughout the year.
Yeah, and going back to the question, they lost
Yeah.
as well.
So that's where the
a
20%
little-
comes, right?
Yeah, a little
Because
bit
some of the
yeah.
execution of those late drives didn't go very well. And again, for so long during that game, it felt like they were just trying to avoid Mahomes coming into the game because they were rushing a lot. They were extending the drives. I saw a drive. I think it was the first drive they had in the third quarter that went for like 8 minutes or something. So they almost, I mean, the numbers in regards of time, the possession time, 22 and 57 for Kansas, 37-03 for the Bills. So they had the ball a lot, right? And that tells you that they were somehow at least trying to avoid Mahomes coming back, right? Because they knew that if he comes back at any
Yes.
point, he was going to score. And we saw like 5 different lead changes. Mahomes they were not being able to stop him. Again, it's just
The thing is that they didn't materialize that time, so it was not. You didn't see that time, those 37 minutes reflected
Yeah,
on the
'cause
score
I-
at any point of the game.
right. Because I think that the average per play for the Bills, it was like 4 yards or something. Again,
Was-
I mean, Josh Allen was throwing a lot of screens, short passes. He was rushing a lot. Again, a lot of short gains on most of the plays they were throwing, whereas Kansas was just playing loose. Again, they knew the defense was not gonna be able to stop them, and they got confident. And they, again, the rushing game was working, and so that opened up a lot of lanes and a lot of opportunities, and they took advantage of them. And yeah, what else can I tell you? I mean, I told you, that Kansas was not as bad as we all thought
I have
they
to admit
were.
it. I have to admit it.
And yeah, that missed field goal is heartbreaking. I'll tell you that. But I mean, Josh Allen
Still-
had one opportunity just before that field goal,
Mm-hmm.
and he missed the target, which I think it was, who was it? I think it was Shakir or something. And it seems like he underthrew that. Not too crazy pressure coming at him on that specific play, and he had Stephon Diggs running as well on a shorter
Open, yeah.
route, and he decided to go deep with Shakir, and he just missed him. Then the field goal happened, and then even if that field goal goes in, I think Mahomes comes. It was a minute and 40. I think
It
they
was
still have one
Too
timeout.
much time. It's still on the
And
clock.
I mean, at least for a field goal, he would have drive that team to a field goal at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, yeah.
And it would have been even worse for the Bills fans. It was it was gonna be worse. So I think it was better that the guy missed the field goal, because if not, Mahomes would have crushed them even worse.
Instead of going back to what happened a couple of years ago again.
Yeah,
I know.
So yeah, it wasn't a great game again between these two. And another question I just want to ask you here, because obviously we're heading into the conference title games and the AFC title. So were we underestimating these Chiefs coming into this past game against the Bills and moving forward? Do you think I'm excluded from that week because I obviously knew all the way that they were gonna win, but is everybody else underestimating this team?
I think so. I think so. Still, I said it before. This is the team you don't want to face in a postseason. Of course, they have experience. They know how to play this type of games. We all know that, right?
Oh yeah.
But we were, I guess, more than underestimating the team. We were relying more in the teams that they were playing against, right? So, for example, the Bills. We were relying on the Bills to deliver. They didn't. I think it was more about that because we all know the potential that they have, but we trusted the Bills to deliver in the way that they were supposed to.
At home.
We trusted
Yeah.
exactly. They were playing at home. Josh Allen, with a great game, but to close the season.
The most beatable Kansas team potentially they have
Exactly.
faced. Yeah, everything was
some
aligned for
flaws
they to
there,
have it.
right? So I don't think we were underestimating them, but definitely we were not, or we were relying more on these teams. It's gonna be tough for them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Ravens. We're gonna talk about them in a couple of minutes.
Potentially the Super Bowl winner coming out of that.
Yes,
Game.
exactly, and the way they played again, and they have to go.
Yeah,
To-
another road game in Baltimore now coming for the Chiefs. Yeah.
Baltimore. So again, Mahomes on the road. He already proved he knows how to play the games on the road as
Seems
well.
like that doesn't
It was the
matter.
first time. It was the first time. So yeah, he did it in a very good way. We'll see how it goes on Sunday. Definitely a great match. That's gonna be a great match. We're gonna talk about it in the
Future
next
episode,
episode.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still believe they're not the favorite team.
They probably won't be labeled as the favorite heading into the next
No,
game.
I don't think so. But they prove that they're here to compete. That they're still hungry. That they want to go to Las Vegas and that they're gonna fight for it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think there is a little bit of underestimate label here going on because when you look at the recent history, it was 5 AFC title games, and now heading into their sixth. Mahomes hasn't lost in the divisional round in his entire career. He is
That's
old.
impressive, to be
Oh,
honest.
he is 8-2. Pardon me, 8-2 when down by 7 points or more in the playoffs. So that's what 80% win rate when trailing by 7 or more at any given point during the game, which is, I mean, that's crazy. I think the closest thing was Brady, and he was like 40% or something.
Yeah.
And he has 13 career playoff wins again, just getting into the mix of the Mannims, of the Montanas, of the all the greats, right? Obviously, still pretty far away from Brady because Brady has
No,
like
but
30
I
something.
mean,
But
again, what we were saying before, through the first 7 seasons, they're very tight, but very close.
yeah, this
in terms like
yeah,
Brady during the first 7 seasons had 12 wins, right?
Yep.
So
yeah. Mahomes got his 13.
13.
Yeah, a couple of Super Bowl championships and rings already for him. So I mean, just talking about the guy, and then you have Andy Reid, you have Kelce, you have now these other guys that are joining in, like Pacheco also delivering. It seems like, and the defense is there. So I think we were definitely underestimating the Chiefs just based on, again, the below average season they were having. But I told you this the other day. It was so interesting to see the narrative around the Bills having an 11-6 record and that being a great season, and then the Chiefs having an 11-6 season.
It was not
and
a great
being
season for the
season
Bills
them.
because they were pretty inconsistent as well during the first
Yeah, but a lot of
8.
people, when you heard the narrative, it's like these Bills are special. These Bills are gonna be able to
Yeah.
beat this Chiefs team. I mean, they're
But
better.
it was,
Josh Allen.
yeah, in
and
the
all
reality
this.
it was not like that as well. I mean, they were good. They were a good team, mainly towards the end of the season, not the beginning. So they were pretty inconsistent as well. The thing is that they closed better. That's for sure. They closed the season in a better way than the Chiefs.
Yeah, they were coming in hot.
Yes,
The past
they were coming
8
hot.
games.
However,
It's the Chiefs. It's
yeah,
Mahomes. It's
the
Andy Reid.
Chiefs.
Yeah, it is what it is. They lost. Take your L, Bills Mafia. I'm sorry, but it is Kansas again, heading into the AFC Championship game. And before we move into the next one final interesting statistic that we saw, another record being broken. Kelce and Mahomes becoming the duo with the most passing touchdowns, just passing Gronk and Brady with a total of 16 touchdowns between these two, Mahomes and Kelce.
Gronk, sorry,
Gronk and Brady, yeah.
and Brady.
Who are you taking? If you were to start a team today, who would you take? Brady and Gronk or Kelce and
Probably
Mahomes?
Mahomes and Kelce because they are more, into the today's NFL. That it's a bit different. However, I mean, it's hard because we're talking about the GOAT, right? We're talking about
Yeah.
the GOAT. We're talking about
It's still the goal for sure.
Gronkowski. Gronkowski. He was a big part of Brady's success, at least towards the end of his career. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
There is no way to lose
Yeah, oh,
picking.
no. Come on.
There is no way to lose.
Come on.
So yeah, I mean, probably because of how the NFL, it's set up today. Probably I would pick Mahomes and Kelce, but
Yeah, I
mean-
think you nailed it. It comes down to this style that you want to see and play, right? Because I mean, if you ask me, Gronk and Kelce, it's a. I'll take Kelce, and I think Kelce's a little better. He's a better route runner. He's maybe as good as a blocker as Gronk was. We can argue that Gronk was a better blocker, but I mean,
But
Kelsey is not that
Gronk
behind.
also has the fact that he catches the ball and he can give you many more yards.
I think Kelsey
because
can
he
as
has
well.
the potential, right?
I'll give you that. Gronk was tougher to bring down
Yeah,
than Kelsey. I think we can all agree on
that's my
that.
point. Just like about
But in other things, again, I
two
think
of them.
Kelsey runs better routes. So I think that's again they have their own strengths, obviously, and it's close. But I'll still take Kelsey. I think. And then when it comes down to Brady and Mahomes, it's all about style.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. It's all
Mahomes
about
is
style.
it's something that is it's creativity. It's just free flow. I mean, we haven't seen a thrower like that in probably in the history of the game. Closest thing you can think of, maybe Aaron Rodgers. You know, people like that. Brady was clearly not that type of thrower. So with Mahomes, you don't know
he was
what.
smart.
Yeah,
That's
with
the
Mahomes,
thing.
you don't know what to expect because anything can happen. With Brady on the opposite side, I think you knew what he was gonna do, and yet you couldn't
cannot
stop him.
defend that,
Right? And it was so great. He was so phenomenal. Such a smart guy. That his IQ was different. I mean, he's an intangibles. I don't even know what's the word right now, but
Intangibles.
you get the point. I mean, he was a great leader, a winner, fierce competitor. And I'm not saying that Mahomes is not some of that as well, but I mean, Brady is
think
at a
it's
different
not
level
the
on that.
yeah. It's not the time to compare them yet.
Yeah.
Probably in 5-7 more years.
Yeah, give me a couple
we're-
more rings for Mahomes. Maybe
we're
when he
gonna
gets
be
to
able
4 or
to-
5 or something like that. Even if he doesn't get to 7, I think if he gets to 4 or something close to that, it's a different argument.
Something special about Brady as well is that he built a franchise. And we're going off topic, but he built a franchise, and then he was able to shake it up and just go to a different
Yeah,
team
replicate that somewhere
and
else.
just
Yeah,
take them to the Super Bowl. You know,
same
a
thing
winning
again.
team.
Yep.
You know that was special. That was special because we saw what we saw with, for example, Bill Belichick. Right? I know it's different, and we're talking about coaches and quarterbacks, but a lot of people giving a lot of credit to Bill Belichick, and of course he deserves that. We already talked
Yeah, and
about it.
a lot of people
But-
thought that Brady was not gonna be able to be successful.
Exactly, that was
without
my
him.
point.
Mhm.
And he proved them wrong. While on the other side, Belichick struggled,
Yep.
right, to find someone that can do what he was asking, as Brady did it.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. 'Cause he clearly will do that with the Falcons. I mean,
I heard something about why not put in Bill Belichick coaching the Bills. I mean, that would, I know
I
it
don't
sounds
think they're
crazy.
gonna-
It sounds crazy. But it's a team that, you know,
I don't think they're gonna change their staff. I just don't see that.
no,
happening.
I don't think so as well. But like in a parallel
That
world,
we could
I guess,
probably say that
universe.
if Bill Belichick was the coach of the Bills, they would have won probably this past weekend. I think we can probably say that.
Yeah.
Because there was the punt fake attempt was that was I just again I think that had to do a lot with they not wanting Mahomes to come back, and they just try to fake a punt, and that went terribly wrong. They got lucky that the fumble happened in the 1 yard, just when they were about to score. Kansas dropped the ball and they recover it because of a touchback, but if not, that would have been really tragic. But anyways, that's what we had in regards of the Kansas and Bills game. I mean, it was a thriller, and what's to come for the Chiefs, it's promising a lot more of this same type of energy, same type of environment, same type of pressure, and
louder
again,
crowd as well.
yeah, probably.
So,
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, more on those predictions and more on what's to happen on the title games, the conference games on the next episode. So stay tuned for that. But for now, we're moving into the next game. that we want to talk about. And we're going to go back in time. We're going to now restart. We're going to go back to Saturday. It's the Texans and it's the Ravens. So the Ravens are the matchup or the upcoming matchup for the Chiefs. The Ravens ended up being able to handle the game and beat the Texans 10-34. Your thoughts on that game?
I mean, it was a good game until probably the beginning of the third quarter. Tied game as well, 10-10, right? Before going before starting the third quarter. It was a good game. However, what I can say is that the Texans never understood how to play the game. It was kind of difficult for them, to understand. And as a matter of fact, they didn't score a touchdown from the offense. It was special teams and then the field goal. I mean, it's something that we were expecting. We were kind of expecting. It's a very young team, rookie quarterback, rookie coach. I mean, nothing that I can say it was a surprise. Lamar Jackson, he delivered. He played how he was supposed to play. The potential MVP. So he played very well. The defense showed up in a very good way, in a massive way, putting pressure all the time, playing in the perimeter very well as well. I mean, everything was on point for the Ravens. And for the Texans, it was a good year. They played well. I had some faith on CJ Stroud as well. But nothing to, nothing to complain about him. Like he played the game he was supposed to play as a rookie quarterback. That's it.
Yeah. I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. Clearly, the game was a close one in the first half. We saw the Texans actually playing a pretty decent game, but I think it had to do more with the Ravens looking a little tight, maybe a little at the beginning, so they were not that loose. Again, it took them a while to start playing their game and start feeling loose. But again, the defense was pretty physical. They are pretty difficult to play against. They have a lot of options, a lot of tools. They throw a lot of different zones and a lot of different pressures and a lot of different here and there. And I mean, it's hard to play against this defense. So it's not gonna be easy for any other team that's gonna face them. Meaning the Chiefs and potentially if they go to the Super Bowl, whoever ends up facing them, if they get there, it's gonna be hard to play that defense. And Lamar. I mean, Lamar is Lamar. He's that special.
Running,
he's one
amazing.
of a kind. He's
Throwing,
one of a kind.
He was amazing.
One of a kind, man. It's crazy. He threw for 152 yards, 2 touchdowns there, 11 carries for 100 yards.
100 yards
2
for the quarterback.
rushing touchdowns. Wow. So 4 total there for him. And yeah, I mean, they did an amazing job of putting pressure on CJ Stroud, and that had to do a lot with the Texans rushing game not showing up at all. So that, I mean, it speaks great about the defense, but it's also, I mean, it also changes the whole dynamic of your game plan if you can only go to the air, and he's a rookie quarterback. So kudos to the guy because he didn't threw the ball over. No turnovers for him. So he took care of the ball as much as he could at least, which speaks good about him.
But he was constantly under pressure. He was, I mean, he was running all the time, trying to get rid of, everyone that was basically coming at him.
Very uncomfortable game for him. And again, he managed to not throw the ball over. And it's 38 rushing yards for the Texans against 229 for the Ravens.
And something that I noticed that was pretty evident during the game is the fact that he was a rookie. He was still a rookie for these type of games, because when you see him there, right, with the countdown and waiting for the ball, right, to come at him. He was not able to identify different things happening
Yeah.
that were coming from the defense, and he was not able to identify and change the play, things that with a more experienced
Yeah.
quarterback
With
you
time,
would
yeah.
see it all the time, right? And that's one of the great, I guess, one of the great skills that the greatest quarterbacks had in the past. And we're talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Manning,
For
about
sure.
Brady. I mean, I know I'm talking about big names,
Yeah.
but they were able always to identify who was coming, how to cover that,
Where
how
the
to
blitz
change the
was
play in the
coming, yeah,
line,
all
and
everything.
and he was not able to do it. Like, and that's why also he got constant
Yeah.
pressure and some throws, right, that you know um, that were coming at him and that he was basically just
Yeah, he was
running
overwhelmed
away.
by the
Yeah.
defense, and like I said before, this defense has a lot of different things that they can throw at any quarterback in general,
Hmm.
and they showcase that game, and that's gonna be the key element for the Ravens moving forward. We understand that they need Lamar to play his best game if they want to win the whole thing. But the defense needs to also continue to play this way and hopefully shut down as much as they can. Well, in the next game, Mahomes, we all know that's going to be a tough challenge for whatever defense. But they have a good chance of making him uncomfortable as well. And we'll see if that happens because the Ravens are the real deal. I told you
Yes.
this the previous episode. It feels different with this team. They seem locked in. It feels like you feel a different energy. You feel a different vibe. Lamar himself said it in the press conference or in the interview post game, where he said that this team just feels different. That the confidence they have in each other, the trust they have in each other. I mean, the chemistry is at a high level, and he has weapons all over the place. He's throwing this year with
He's a
great
weapon
accuracy.
himself.
He is an entire
Himself.
weapon himself for sure. And not to mention that they might recover Mark Andrews, their tight
Hmm.
end, for the upcoming game, which is going to be another weapon to deal with. Um, well, he is still questionable. We'll see if he ends up being available or not. But yeah, I think ultimately it comes down to Lamar. And the
The
main
defense.
question, and I
The
think
defense.
this is before we move into the next game, do you think that Lamar actually proved that he's ready to take this team to the Super Bowl this year?
We'll see it on Sunday. That's my answer. I mean,
Okay, that's
still,
fair.
he was playing against a rookie quarterback. He was playing against a rookie head coach. It was a very good game.
Which, by the way,
It's
what
what
a
we
what a
were
season
expecting. Yeah, for the
from a coaching
Texans,
standpoint. Arguably a coach of the year candidate for.
for sure.
Yeah, because
Yes.
what a season, what a turn of
We
events.
saw it with Brian Double a couple of seasons ago.
Hmm.
He was a rookie head coach, took the Giants to the postseason. Something similar is happening here. Um, Even better because you're taking a rookie quarterback with you. So definitely he has
Yeah,
and he has all the arguments
yeah, potential to win
to
it
take
this
that.
year, and yeah, we will see a lot from
We'll
these
see. We'll see on
Texans.
Sunday. I mean, we'll see on Sunday because it's gonna be a different game. It's gonna be
Yeah,
against probably the most experienced quarterback that we currently have in the league in terms of these type of games. Uh, Consolidated quarterback, of course. I mean, nothing else
yeah.
to say about Mahomes. Andy Reid, he's a great coach. He's going to play against a tough defense as well. We talked about Chiefs
Mhm.
defense. So this is a real test for Lamar. Next Sunday, it's going to be a real test for him, and we'll see if he is built for these type of times, for these
Yeah.
type of games, right?
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I think the ultimate test is going to come in the next game. But we certainly saw a different Lamar than previous
Yeah,
years in
and
the
then previous
postseason.
one,
So
yeah.
that's also something to be, cheerful about if you're a Ravens fan, because it seems like again he is showcasing the Lamar Jackson that we all want to see.
Mhm.
The guy that is just going to come in and give us a show, that is going to I mean, he's gonna pull a play somehow. I mean, the guy is just
That you don't know
juking
what
people.
he's
Like
going
he is
to
stopping.
come
The
with.
defenders are just going by. He's just looking like nobody can touch me. I mean, he's crazy. He's a total showman.
He's a real deal. He's a real
Yeah,
deal.
100%. Again, one of a kind for me. I haven't seen a quarterback that is this good at running and that has become this good at passing, which was the ultimate critique we all had on him at some point in his career. But it seems like he's overcoming that game by game after game. He's becoming better. He's choosing his targets better. And I mean,
Great
boy, oh
coaching.
boy, is it
Yes.
scary to face these Ravens right now.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that game. Again, more predictions coming in the next episode. But moving on, have two more games to cover. It's the Packers and the Niners.
Close game, right?
What a close game! Arguably the second best game, I guess,
Yes, for sure.
of the weekend after
No
the Bills
doubts.
and the Chiefs, because the Packers managed to make it a. I don't even know if there is a better word for than close, because I mean 21-24 against the Niners, which we both thought were gonna come into this game and crush the Packers completely, and probably many of you also thought that. It wasn't the case. I mean, it was close all the way until the end, to the final drive actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 49ers dodge, in my opinion, a huge bullet on that game on Saturday. Ended up winning 21-24. And yeah, want to hear again your thoughts on this one. What did you see from
A
this
lot
game?
a lot of things happening, right? Because for this game, I guess, and I think the bye week was tough for the Niners. It made them pay a little bit.
Yeah.
They were not having the rhythm that they normally have when the game started. Um, and it was difficult for them in some plays, right? You could see them like trying to push a little bit more to get the plays done, to get they were always constantly playing third and something. Um, it was it was not the Niners that we're used to see with those big plays, playing first and second down all the time, just a few third downs. It was not that team that we saw. And on the other hand, we had the Packers playing loose, playing like they had nothing to lose. However, I believe the Packers had the potato in their hands because they went
Yes.
to red zone at least during the first half. I think it was three times. I guess I have it here. Three times in the red zone, and just 6 points.
Yeah.
Just 6. Um, that was a key for me. Because
100%.
for the second half, it would have been different if you're winning, right? If you start the second half
Yep.
winning, it would have been different. Then another play that happened that was key was the 4th and 1 that they played.
Yeah.
I think it was in the third quarter or the fourth quarter. I don't quite remember. I think it was in the fourth quarter. But that 4-and-1, that was heartbroken as well, because those were specific points that if they could have done something different, we
Yeah.
would be saying something, or we would be speaking about something different in terms
Yeah.
of the score.
Yeah, the postseason, all the playoffs game, they come down to moments, right?
Exactly.
It's a specific place that haunt you for the rest of your life sometimes. In this case, I don't think that's going to be necessarily a fair thing to say about these Packers. We talked about this. They are the fifth youngest team in the past 50 years or something, heading into the postseason. So, I mean, they actually, if you're going to lose a game, being this team, this is a great way of losing it.
Yeah,
I mean, losing is not great, obviously, but it's a great way of losing and putting an end to your season that we can all say was a success, again, similar to the Texans, because we thought they were going to go through the rebuild, that was going to take a while. We didn't even know if Jordan Love, during certain moments of the season, was going to be the guy to take this team to the next level. But he's certainly showing you what he can do. He's a baller. He's going to be just fine. Next year, this team is going to be even better because they now had the experience to going through the postseason, a couple games, beating Dallas, all of that, right? It's a great history. It's something great to work from. And they have still great weapons. It's a young team. Again, in all of the levels that you look, he's going to have great talent around him. So I think the Packers are going to be just fine. And, man, for the Niners, it's... Oh my God, it was tough to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I thought again, from my prediction, I thought they were just gonna crush it. They still won the game. Again, it's all that matters. But at the same time, it kind of doesn't feel like that when you have a team like this. Like it feels like winning is not the only thing that matters.
Like
you have to
it
win.
was like
convince.
50%. Like
Yeah, you have
that,
to convince when you win.
You barely pass the test.
It. I mean, again, we have put a lot of criticism and a lot of expectations on whether or not Brock Purdy is going to be able to take this team to win the Super Bowl. And the only, especially, I'm not going to say it's the only thing, but one of the only things that we can say positive about his game this past weekend is that he took that final drive and he bowled. I mean, if that's the Brock Purdy you're going to get
in those moments,
on the moments that matter, you're going to be just fine because he played phenomenal on that final drive that took them to winning that game, actually, because we know that Jordan Love had another opportunity. He ended up throwing an interception. That was the game. But Brock Purdy's final drive was just phenomenal. As spectacular as you get. So he was just great there. But early on the game, again, you can see that the weight on his shoulders is too big. They lost Deebo Samuel early on that game to a shoulder injury.
That was hard.
Again, that's a hard loss. And we saw what happened to this team when they lost Deebo Samuel earlier in the year, right? That's when they started losing games. I think they lost 3 straight games badly. Pretty badly when Deebo Samuel was not available. And so they became too heavily reliant on McCaffrey, right? Which we know he can deliver and he delivered.
I mean, that's one of the things that I have here.
Yeah.
McCaffrey, after the first contact, was amazing. He got so many yards after the first contact that it's impressive. He's unstoppable.
Always, we talked about it the other day. He's certainly unstoppable. He went for 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. But interestingly enough, when you look at the opposing team, you had Aaron Jones, which went for 108 yards on 18 carries. McCaffrey went for 17 carries, 98 yards. So it was, even Aaron Jones kind of, quote-unquote, outplayed McCaffrey a little bit in regards of yards.
But the touchdowns for me make the difference.
100%. Of course, that's what they ended up winning. They needed every piece of McCaffrey that they could get because, again, they lost Deebo Samuel, and we know that the game style and the game plan goes a lot through him. They threw a lot of jet sweeps and a lot of other like special plays for Deebo Samuel to be actually the running back in some cases. Like they use him a lot, and that's gonna be a tough loss if they. I mean, if they don't have him.
It's 50-50 right now.
It's 50-50 according to reports. So we'll see how that develops throughout the week. Hopefully, we're going to have more news on that on the next episode. Because if they don't have Deebo Samuel, they're going to have to shake some teams up, try to be creative on planning the game. Yeah, because one thing that just gets my nerves when I'm watching the Niners and when I'm watching Brock Purdy is that, I mean, he sees all this pressure coming. The pocket is collapsing and the guy's just standing there, bro. I just never see this guy trying to move away from the pressure.
He doesn't move.
And I think the only time or one of the very few times that he actually run away and exit the pocket, he was able to run for like 8 yards or something. And I think it was on that final drive or somewhere in the middle of that game. And asking to myself, like, why aren't you doing this more often? Like, why is it that you
He can
see?
run. I mean, he's
Yeah,
athletic
I
enough
mean, he's
to
not
run.
Lamar Jackson, of course,
No,
but
of course not.
he can get out of the pressure sometimes. He can try to do something because I mean, I get nervous. Like I'm not joking. Like I'm seeing this guy just standing there, and I'm like, okay, if you don't want to run through the side or just turn around or do something crazy like Mahomes or Josh Allen, all these guys, obviously he's not at that level, but at least just give like two more steps back. Like that's something, bro. Like get some time to your receivers to get open. Like give me something. And I'm not seeing that a lot of the times. And that's what's concerning to me because I think like is it that they're asking him to not move or do they not trust him to just try to exit the pocket sometimes? Like what's going on
I
with
don't
him?
think
Because
it's that they're asking him. Like it's the survival mode that he has in him. Like
but
it's like either I
then it's not there because if you want to
yeah,
survive the
no,
pressure,
no,
you gotta
no.
move.
He's like either I run and die or stay here and die. I mean, and
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
he
saying.
just
He
picks
doesn't have
to die.
survival instincts. It
He
seems
just
like
picks to die, and
because
exactly,
it's so
it's very limited.
passive. It's so
Very limited.
passive, and I I don't know if I'm gonna be a little bit bold by saying this, but I think if he can work on that aspect of his game, he could potentially become a better, a way better
A
quarterback
good,
than he is
a
right
very
now.
good quarterback. Probably.
Because again, you see the flashes on that final
He
drive.
has the
He
vision. He
can
has the
throw the
arm.
ball. He's precise with it when he's not that much under pressure.
Hmm.
But I mean, if you're gonna be under pressure a lot of the times, you need to start doing something with your game to elevate it. And I think that's what he's missing. But before we move into the next game and the final one, just the question that I think many of us can start
We all
asking
have
ourselves.
this question.
This game showed the league, and especially Detroit, which is going to be obviously their matchup. Spoiler alert! Here into the next weekend, but this game against the Packers showed the league, and again, the Lions specifically, that the Niners are actually very beatable.
Without Samuels, I think they are, and they show that, and it was it. I mean, it's one of the strongest points that they have. If he's not there, I think it's easy to put pressure on Brock Purdy, expect something to happen or not to happen, I guess. Um, and if you play, with that specific ingredient, it might be something that we will see, right? The Niners falling apart against a better team, right, or a more experienced team. Um, for me, it's about that. With Devo Samuels, they look totally different. Brock Purdy looks more confident. He has his target there, and I think it all comes down to that. If he has Devo Samuels there for him, or if he doesn't, because Christian McCaffrey, yes, of course, he can carry the team in many different drives, but in that last drive, when you need to throw the ball, if your quarterback is not that confident, I mean, yes, it happened against the Packers, but against a better defense, it could be a problem. And you cannot run the ball when you are like 1 minute ahead, 2 minutes, or 1 minute left, 2 minutes left. You cannot run the ball. So for me, it's about that. If Debo Samuels it's healthy and they go back to play how they showed us they can play, I think this is the Super Bowl team, and then well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but probably we might see this team winning the Super Bowl if they play that way. But if they can't, and it's kind of tricky as well because a team that is so dependent on someone that it's not his quarterback, it's kind of worrying.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it is, and we'll see again what happened with Debo Samuel. heading into the next game. But I certainly think that this was, I mean, this was not a good look for the Niners. I mean,
No, it
even
was
with that,
not.
even after losing Devo Samuel, they should have find a way of turning this page over and crushing the Packers. Because that again, that's what the Ravens did, right? Like the Ravens didn't
Mm-hmm.
start necessarily great, look a little tight, and again, you mentioned it. It's the bye week. Sometimes that affects the teams early on the games, especially. And it seems that it affected the Niners even more than just the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you this the other day. The Niners are, I mean, you can pretty accurately predict how the game is gonna go for them, depending on the first quarter. Like depending on what happens in the first quarter, you will know that
Right.
they're gonna either crush the other team or they're just gonna have to battle it all the way through the end. And again, the beginning of the game looked a little tight, a little rusty. Things were not rolling that much, and
They start feeling the pressure,
obviously
you know.
we saw what happened. They battled it to the end, and it's gonna come down to that, I guess, in the next game if Devo is available, but also how they start the game. Because at the end of the day, if that offense or even the defense is able to put some points early in the game, build a lead,
Yeah.
that's gonna take the pressure off Purdy, and now we know he's a different quarterback when that happens,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the games stay close, which again playoff games tend to be like that, obviously, we could see them struggling again, even against Detroit. Which again, if you put paper on the table with the names on each team, I mean, 90%, 95, 99% of people will say San Francisco is the better team. But once the game
When it's the
starts
NFL,
playing, I mean, anything can happen. And again, it comes down to moments. And kudos to the Niners, kudos to Brock Purdy for at least having the right set of plays at the right set of time to win that game. Because if not, we would have been talking about a different matchup heading into the next
yes.
weekend. But anyways, let's move into the final matchup of the weekend, which was, well, technically it was not the final one, but it's the Bucs against the Lions. It's the one we have left on the list. Last but
Also a
not
close
least,
game.
yeah, for most of the game, I mean, technically through the entire game, pretty much it was a close one. The Bucs and the Lions, and they ended up going 23-31. The Lions won the game to advance to their first NFC title in like 50 years or something. I can't remember.
Yes. First time.
Yeah. So yeah, the Lions won the game. Was a close one. If we go a little bit about what happened, it was a great effort, similar to the Texans, I guess, and the Packers. I mean, the Bucs put a great effort to
To
actually,
stay in the
yeah,
game.
100%.
Um,
It was a solid game by Mayfield as well. I mean, Baker is being criticized all over the place because of off the court, on the court, like off the field, on the field things. But I mean, he threw for 349 yards, 26 out of 41, three touchdown passes, two interceptions though.
the final one that
Yeah,
was
that was devastating because again, it could have been one of those final drives, final moments, specific moments that define games. He
when
threw
the
it over.
pressure plays a different game.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, prior to that, you cannot say anything about him. I mean, again, it wasn't.
No, no, he played a very good game until that, I guess, final drive. The game was close. The whole game was constantly close. By the fourth quarter, we saw a couple of really good drives from the Lions,
Mhm.
right? And I think that was the defining moment of the match. But still, I mean, the Bucks they managed to come back to score one more touchdown, and then
Yeah.
they had the last opportunity. Um, Baker Mayfield, I mean, he has all the flashes around him, right? Because
Yeah.
we were expecting so many things, um, but still, like,
Yeah,
I'm doubtful
he tried.
about yeah
No, I
about
think the
him
guy's gonna
in
get his
general.
money now. I think the Bucks are gonna probably go after him and just retain him, pay him. He tried to put the cape on that final drive. Didn't work. He had a hole or something that cape because it didn't work. But kudos to the guy because he managed to keep them in the game. Again, he threw a pretty impressive
Yeah.
game overall on the head-to-head against Goff, which also had a great game, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So again, moments that matter and plays that matter. But to me, it felt like Detroit just made one more play, right? Like it was that was it. Like they always make one more play than the Bucs, and I think that's what it all came down to, because it was pretty tight. I mean, these two teams. I don't know. I think
It was I think it was way too tight for the difference that we have with the teams. So we have the Lions team, very consistent team throughout the season,
pretty deep team as well because
very
they have
deep team
a
as
lot
well.
of
as you
guys, young
say.
guys in the first, second year that are already at a start level.
Crushing it, yeah, they're playing amazing. Um, so I guess probably they still have some pressure. You know, they're carrying the team that
The entire
has
city. I mean,
never been here.
they're carrying the entire city. Yeah.
So I guess that they have pressure, of course, and they're playing different than the way they played during the regular season. Hopefully, they're like this next game. It's they're playing away. They're playing in San
Yeah. Now
Francisco.
they become the underdogs most likely for the next
Exactly,
game.
and it's easier to play as an underdog because
You have more to win than to lose. Yeah.
exactly. So we might see the Lions that we want to see as well. Of course, they played. They played well. They won the game. That's what we were expecting. They played or they won also. They played a great game against the Rams. And probably now that they're going to San Francisco, we're gonna see a better Lions. I'm expecting that, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping as well
Hopefully.
for
we
that,
do.
so that we can have a great match.
Yeah.
Because that's what we all want. We all
Yeah,
want to
for
see,
sure.
right?
For a conference title game, you want to see the best of the best every time, and hopefully the Lions are gonna come play hard. We understand that Campbell again is putting a great culture. They're playing strong. I mean, his speeches are all over the place.
Yes.
We have seen the video. Obviously, he's a great motivator. I mean, the city of Detroit is just sending all of their energy now, moving into this road game. And this guy's, I mean, it's an amazing story. Obviously,
Yes.
it's I think from the four teams that are left, this is the most compelling story overall. And I guess that takes me to the final question here for this specific game and all the things that happen throughout the weekend. Should we stop calling Detroit a Cinderella story? Do we already think they're a great team overall, or is this still one of those Disney
I
stories
think
going on?
they're a great team, and they have been a great team throughout the season. They have played very well. They play hard. They played uh, they they play with their heart out, right, the whole time. Uh, we see a team with a lot of, as you mentioned, right, some guys with in their second year already playing with a lot of or showing a lot of experience, right, to play games. We're seeing a good team. I think we're seeing a good team. We're seeing the start of a team that might be a challenging team for the upcoming years as well for the
I think
rest
they're
of the
only
league.
missing one piece, one, and it's just the corners. They need better corners. I think if
Yeah.
they can get a star corner or two very good ones, man, they're gonna be set for success.
If they play a good draft next year, well, this year, right, for next season, um, that might be
Yeah,
something that
if they cover
they can
that, I
solve
think
there.
because a lot of the gaps that we saw for this Detroit team again was on the defensive side of the ball,
Yeah.
more often than
Perimeter,
not.
Yeah.
And I think it's again on the exterior, because I mean they could use some help in the passing rush, another extra rusher or something. But I mean, they found the balance there, and again, the offense is rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so thrilled just seeing what's happening with Jared Goff. It's
He's playing
another
well. He's
amazing,
playing
another amazing
good
story.
football.
Another amazing story because he is showing everybody that he can be your guy, right?
Yeah.
Which I think for Detroit now specifically, they have nothing to question about this guy. I mean, the opposing team they're gonna be facing, San Francisco, is questioning all over the place if Brock Purdy is gonna be able to handle
Mm-hmm.
this business or not. Whereas Detroit is just probably so confident that if you just put those two guys on the field, we know Goff is probably gonna be winning that matchup, right? So I think we should probably stop calling them a Cinderella story because, I mean, Cinderella story is just a team that is just completely out of hope and
Mm-hmm.
somehow manages to pull it through,
Something
right?
happens,
Right.
and then
This team, it seems like they have important tools. They have again very good players in many different positions, and they're here to stay. I just don't see
they have a
them.
great team. I
Yeah,
mean, overall, like again, they have a great team. They're playing well. They have a great coach. Um, so I think they have everything that's needed for them to not just to close the season in a great way, because if they win the championship, going to the Super Bowl, that for me would be just amazing. Even if they don't won the Super Bowl, if they don't win, sorry, the Super Bowl. But still, I guess we're seeing a team that it's gonna give us many good memories, many good surprises in the future, not just the one that we're seeing right now. So yeah, let's root for the Lions to keep the consistency, to keep the core as well, and stay healthy.
yeah. It's a
You
city
know,
that needs some consistency, to say the least. And if they can start winning something, it's even gonna be better
better,
because
of course.
clearly they need it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happened throughout the entire weekend. A lot. I know we have talked a lot about NFL recently, but I mean, you can tell why, right? It's
Yeah,
just
it's
everything that's going on with the NFL games. It's just worth talking about, and that's why we are doing so. But yeah, that's about it in regards to football. We're gonna run through a little bit of our
some of
buzzer beaters. Just some updates
some
before,
flashes.
yeah, before we wrap up today's episode of some action that is going on, because we know this is Sporting Birds, which is the house of all sports. And so yeah, a couple of quick updates in other sports. We saw pretty impressive performances, basketball related. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
start with women basketball, NCAA. Two major stories that had developed throughout the weekend. Kaylin Clark dropped 45 points despite the OT loss against Ohio. She got tackled by a fan in the middle of all that celebration by the Ohio fans, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, shame on you, Ohio guys. Why did you tackle the girl after dropping 45 points on you? I mean, you still won, so celebrate all you want, but come on. I mean, this girl is special. I can't wait for her to be in the WNBA because, I mean, we could see something really remarkable on her career. I think she's just special, and we have great talent in the WNBA waiting for her as well. So we'll see if we have
Yes.
some great matchups once she gets there. So that's on NCAA female basketball. Also, we had Coach Tara Vanderveer with a very impressive,
What
very
a record.
what a record
What
she
a
broke.
record.
It's not none other than
Just
just
impressive.
passing. I mean, when you surpass Mike Krzyzewski, I
That's
mean
it. That's all you have to
if
say.
you put surpassed Mike Krzyzewski in whatever sentence, bro, that's already something remarkable for your career.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Tara actually passed him on the amount of wins, total career wins, 1,200. It's 1,203 total wins for her. Currently with the record now, holding that record in the NCAA. Again, a pretty remarkable career. It's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else can you say when you have a coach like this, it speaks about greatness. It speaks about
Greatness
consistency.
and
I mean, longevity of a
that's
career,
all.
because that's what you also need. I mean, toughness, mentally speaking, to go through
Hall
it
of
every
Fame.
year. Yeah, for sure. It's one of the greatest coaches we have seen, obviously. And now she broke the record, and she's probably gonna continue winning some more games. So we'll see
Oh
what the number
yes.
is gonna be at the end of her career. So that kudos to Coach Tara Vanderveer. Moving on, more basketball related stuff. I mean, I'm wearing this jersey because of a reason. On January 22nd, 2006,
One of the greatest performances
we
we've
have ever
ever
seen and
seen
probably
and
will see
witnessed
in our lives.
for
The
sure.
late, great late Kobe Bryant dropped 81 points 18 years ago on the Raptors. That's still one of the
What a game.
most remarkable memories I've had in my entire life watching
Yes.
sports. I remember watching that game and just, I mean, yeah, I'm admit it. If
Probably
depending on the day you ask me, I might put Kobe Bryant ahead of Michael Jordan. That's how much of a Kobe Bryant fan I am.
today is one of those days.
Today, just because
Yes.
I want to do so, yes, I'm gonna put him. Ask me today, I'm gonna tell you he's the goat. Okay, yeah, it's
That was the day that I believe I fell in love of a player, you know, because for me he is the definition of everything I want to see in a player. And when I saw that game that day, for me it was something truly special.
yeah,
And
for sure.
I fell in love, and for me it was just a role model was built in that
Yep.
moment. And in everything that happened after that, I was just looking at him and just trying to like emulate in a different way. Of course, I'm not a player, right, a basketball player, but the way he lived his life,
Yeah,
you know, that mentality that everyone's always talking about, the Mamba mentality. I mean, that's something
yeah,
special, and it's the greatest. Yeah, I can say it's the greatest athlete I've ever seen because of his discipline, because of all the values that he was praising all the time. So it's nice. It's nice to remember
yeah.
these type
We
of
must.
things in these days, because Kobe Bryant, he was one of a kind, and I've never seen an athlete like him ever again. I mean, and I don't see I will see an athlete like him
Yeah, we'll
in
have
the
to wait for
future.
that, but certainly he's gonna. I mean, he's gonna
He
remain at
had
the top
everything.
of my list most of the time. Again, depending on the day you ask me, because what a talent. I mean, what a tragic loss. I can still remember that day, like if it was
It's tough.
5 minutes ago, bro.
It was
When
tough.
the news broke, oh my god, I was so devastated. But anyways, it's a beautiful memory that we have from him. 81 points. It's still, I think it's the second or third most.
Second, I think it's still
Second or
second.
third, I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but second or third most points on a single game by a player, which
Mhm.
again, it's remarkable because it's been 18 years since that, and we're still waiting for somebody to drop more points. So it speaks a lot about how difficult it is to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, 81 points. It's crazy, okay? But yeah, it seems like other players got inspired by this
Today,
memory
yes.
because we had Joel Embiid dropping 70 points, breaking the all-time record for the Sixers franchise today. Just before we started recording this, that
We were
game
watching the.
finished, and he broke the record, 70 points for Joel Embiid. Obviously, he's making all the noise that he can, and he needs to, because the Philadelphia 76ers needs every inch of Joel
Yes.
Embiid they can get every single night. And of course, he's probably going to be in the conversation for MVP this year. I wouldn't see why not. But added to that, we have, which is another remarkable thing, another performance of more than 60 points, because that one was developing as we started recording. So I don't know what was the final.
I can tell you. I can look.
Yeah, look it up,
Can look
because
it up.
Anthony Towns had 62 points by the time we again stopped watching the game. So that's two players dropping more than 60 points on one single night, which is pretty historical as well. I think it's been quite a lot.
I think
a lot
they
of
were
time that
inspired. Definitely, they were inspired.
yeah, they
by,
saw that Kobe
by
Bryant
the greatest.
memory again, and they just came into ball tonight. And yeah, that's a little bit of what's going on with today's action on the NBA. The Lakers. I mean, let's go back to the Lakers because Kobe Bryant. Why not? I'm wearing the Lakers jersey.
62.
You already know.
So yeah, he closed with 62.
Oh, 62. It was okay. So 62 is the final stat line for Cat.
It was not enough. They still lost, but
Oh my God! Imagine, at least
Yes.
at least the Sixers got the win.
yes,
So,
exactly.
but anyways, devastating for the Timberwolves to lose that game after that such a performance from Carr. But anyways, a pretty remarkable still accomplishment for him. I think it's obviously his career high.
They lost to the
well.
Hornets.
And losing to the Hornets,
To the
yeah, that's
Hornets.
ugly. That's ugly.
The best team,
the
right?
Sixers
Or
were
one of
still.
the
I
best.
mean, they still won by 10 points, I think, at the end against San Antonio.
Yeah, but they
it was kind
struggled.
of scary at the end. I'm not gonna lie. Like they started to get close, and Embiid had to come back to the game and start balling again, and that's why he ended up scoring 70. But yeah, moving on again. The Lakers just won 3 out of the last 4. So again, we have seen the inconsistencies coming back and forth, back and forth. We don't know what's going to happen with the Lakers. They're going to be facing the Clippers tomorrow. The Lakers are right now sitting at 500. 22-22 is their record, sitting at the 9th seed. So right there at the edge of the playoffs.
The team is in that point that anything can happen.
Yeah, the
Anything
trade
can
deadline will happen, I think. My
Yes.
gut feeling is telling me that they will have to do some moves if they want to turn,
Things around.
yeah, because they have talent. We saw this team succeed last year, get into the conference finals, but I don't know. Something is not clicking this year with this team. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
But anyways, Boston on the opposite side of the coin. It's just
They keep
going
just
and
winning.
they're just cruise controlling throughout the East. Nonetheless, the Bucs and the Sixers are still kind of on the hunt, so they have to watch out because they were playing Dallas as well as we were recording this tonight. They lost against Denver just a few nights ago as well, and we'll
They
see
won
what
today, 119.
ended up winning against the Dallas Mavericks then, which is, again, I guess, good for Boston fans out there. It seems like this is one of those years that, again, they're going to be in the conversation to go to the finals. They have the team. They have the unit. They were playing without Porzingis today, I think. So that also speaks about how deep this team is. They can still win if they lose one of their top players against some of the good teams like Dallas. Well, Dallas, it's similar to the Lakers. They have their ups and downs, but again, you have Luka in front, you
It's
have
like
Kyrie.
It depends on what fate they.
Yeah,
they
they
woke
woke
up on.
up to. Yeah, for sure. But again, that's a little bit of what's going on in the NBA action. And let's talk about just the last couple of updates that we have from the world of sports. We saw the MMA action, UFC 297, this past Saturday, which was a pretty nice set of fights that we saw. But more specifically, we just want to make a quick mention on the middleweight title fight between Sean Strickland, which was the champion, and Dricus du Plessis, who actually won the fight, ended up becoming the new middleweight champion. It's a pretty interesting division. You have Adesanya in there, maybe waiting. So kudos to the South African, and yeah, South Africa must be proud because
They
du
must be
Plessis
proud. Yes.
had a great fight. I was watching the fight, Strickland. I know you don't watch MMA just that much, but we'll get him. I'm promising this. I'll get the guy to watch more fights with me, as much as he's gonna get me, and I'm gonna admit this in advance because we haven't talked about Formula One just yet. But once we start getting into those topics, I'm not that much of
a fan.
cars and watching cars and whatever competitions you throw at me. I have no idea what's going on in there. I just know that Lewis Hamilton is great. And Schumacher was great. I don't know if that's still a relevant name. I don't know, but
It is. I mean, that's the GOAT. I mean,
okay. Well, you see, I know something a little bit at least. But yeah, I'll get you to watch more fights. But again, pretty impressive to see. And this is a
Yes.
special kudos because one of our watchers out there, one of our devout fans, asked me and text me offline and asked me to bring MMA and UFC to the show. So I'm gonna try to
Okay.
bring the love back to you guys. I see we're listening, and we're gonna try to talk a little bit about those sports that you want us to cover
I'll
as
commit
well.
as well. I'll commit. I commit.
Yep. And so we're going to start bringing more of these updates from other sports as well. But again, kudos to Duplessis. A great fight. I was watching the fight. It was pretty close at the beginning. Strickland actually started pretty well on the first round. Then the second, third, and fourth, I definitely think Duplessis started changing his fight style. And he certainly managed to get the things going on his way. And the fifth and final round was pretty nice to watch as well. Pretty intense. But again, he won the fight on a split division, and he's the new middleweight champion of the world. And we'll see who he faces next because that's a division that is loaded again. And finally, moving into another sport that we haven't talked about in a couple weeks. The Australian Open is developing, and I think as we
This is
are
the good week as well.
yeah, this is the quarterfinals that are happening, and I think as we speak, the game between Novak Djokovic and
Fritz.
Taylor Fritz, it's already going on. So we'll see
It
who
hasn't
wins.
started yet, but
Oh, it hasn't. I thought it was
but
in a
it's
couple hours.
it's starting
Well,
in like 4 minutes.
oh, there you go. We're about to go watch that game, of course. Because the Australian Open is at the closing stages,
At
and this
its
is
best,
this is when it
definitely,
gets
yes.
even better. So if you well, I don't think you're gonna be watching this when the game is developing. Maybe if the game takes like 7 hours, maybe you'll be watching the game.
Probably one
But
of those
yeah,
games,
if
one
not,
of
at
those
least for you to
marathons.
know, guys, that's what's happening around the
And
tennis
well,
world.
and Carlos Alcaraz as well. He won his game today, like in
Oh,
a
for
very
real?
good way.
And we
6-4,
have what,
6-4, 6-0.
That's nice. Okay, so we're gonna see some interesting matchups heading into the finals
Yeah.
as well. And I think Coco Golf is still going at it on the female side of things.
Yes.
So yeah, it's the Australian Open. It's the first Grand Slam of the. Is it Grand Slam? Is that the correct
Grand
name?
Slam,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Grand
Grand
Slam.
Slam of the year. So pay attention to that. Don't miss the finals because it's probably going to bring a lot of action as it normally does.
And on the girls' side, we're seeing some nice surprises
Upsets,
there as well.
I've
so-
seen a couple of upsets going on that
Yeah,
as
go
well.
watch.
But it's
Go watch Australian
Australian Open,
Open.
go watch
It's always
tennis,
nice.
go watch UFC. I mean, go watch NBA, go watch hockey. Continue to watch NFL, of course. And add whatever.
Football,
I mean,
soccer.
bring cricket, golf, whatever it is, table tennis. I mean, you name it, drop it in the comments. We're going to be investigating, getting into it. And if we aren't already, and then we're going to bring it to the show because, of course, this is the Sporting Birds. The house of all sports. And you already know that we're going to continue covering all the latest and hottest updates in the sports world. My guy, it's been an amazing episode. I hope you guys liked it as much as we did. And what's to come, again, it's even better.
It's even better. And go and subscribe. Go and like it and click on the like button if you like what you're seeing. Drop comments. Let us know what you like, what you dislike, and what you want us to talk about. So go for it, and we'll make it happen.
For sure. Oh, you see, we're so connected
Yes.
today. There you go. Not like the predictions, brother, because I won 4-0. Can you imagine? I don't know if this is the right expression. 4-0. I went on this weekend, and I'm heading
4-0.
Yes,
No.
I went perfect on my predictions.
Oh, okay. Got it.
4-0.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was.
What are
2
you
and 2.
thinking about? I don't know what this guy's thinking about. It's been a long show.
Yeah,
It's been
it
a
was-
long
it was-
episode. He's already in a different place. All right. But anyways, guys, thank you very much. If you're still
you
here,
for
thank you for the
watching.
support. We love you. And stay tuned for the next one. Until then, my guy.
Thank you so much.
Peace, guys.
See ya.